A great beautiful screen, a long-lasting battery, great performance, a decent camera, and promise of future updates. That is the hallmark of a great mid-range or budget phone. There is no phone on the planet that embodied that ethos like OnePlus when it came out way back when in I think 2014. And I think this Tecno CAMON 40 Pro is in its OnePlus era. Now, Tecno has been around for a long time, especially in Uganda, I think coming out in 2008. But I am a firm believer in brand, and I think when they joined the market in 2008, they really came in a wrong way. They brought in, we still had the button phones, and it was sort of like a cheap option to the Nokia phones. They had these loud ringtones, the bodies were not really built to premium feel. So it gave that emotion that Tecno, it's not for the high-end consumer. It's the low budget, easy entry into any field, and sort of carried on into when they started making smartphones. This mindset that Tecno isn't really for the high end. It's not competing with Samsung. It's not competing with Apple. It's trying to carve out a market for easy entry. So even when they started to make high-end products, it became a little bit hard, and I think they had to pour in a lot of marketing dollars to carve out a market for themselves. I, for one, needed convincing, but I think with this phone, they just might have convinced me that actually they have started to do things right. This right here is the Tecno CAMON 14 Pro, and it retails for about 989,000 in Uganda, and I think the lesser variant is about 100,000 less. I call it the lesser variant, but there is nothing really different. The only main things, and one of the reasons I got this variant was this case. Like, this is a phone case. I think this is one of the reasons why I got it. It looks really nice. It gives the body a sleek feel. You can see that the body itself is great, but I think the cover itself, one, is protecting the phone, but it also looks great. And when you look at the body, we will start at the back here, the camera layout is beautiful. I think that is one of the things that drew me to the phone. Most of the time when it comes to the mid-tier, mid-budget range, it's a bit hard if it's not Samsung. The way they do their layouts at the back, it's really not the best. And I think Tecno has done something really special here. A very simple layout, sort of reminiscent of the Samsung, but they have an edge on the body that slides down, so it just makes it a bit different, and it makes them stand out. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like they're in their OnePlus era. OnePlus came out with phones that looked sleek, looked great, and they all had this button as well. So you can also see on the body here, we have this orange button. It's sort of like an AI feature. At the front, we have a 6.78-inch display, which is AMOLED, which I think is standard for a very good mid-budget phone. You need to have those beautiful colors. It's a very beautiful screen. You can enjoy watching and consuming content on this screen. Obviously, we have the hole punch at the top. Very minimal, but I think one of the things that Tecno also does really well is that they stole the idea of the dynamic island from iPhone. Yes, because they came out with it, but they implemented it very well, and it works well for things like music, for calls. It's just a nice feature to see at this price point. Obviously, we have an optical fingerprint sensor, which is fast enough. I don't think it will delay. We also have face unlock, which works pretty much of the time, only that you have to wake the display first before it works. That's why I would always go with a fingerprint, because it works from sleep. Now, for me as a daily user, I use my phone mainly for communication, WhatsApp. I'm not a heavy gamer, so when it comes to performance, I do gaming, but I do gaming like on the PlayStation. I don't do it on phone. So for me, this performance is really great. I got, I think, the higher spec version of this phone. I got the 16 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of memory, which is not expandable. Sadly, you can find a Redmi Note 14, which is expandable, which would also be nice. Obviously, we do not have a headphone jack. Again, I think at this price point, sometimes people prefer to have a headphone jack still, but it's not something that I miss because I've already migrated and I'm so used to wireless connections. Speaking of wireless, you don't have wireless charging, which at this price point, I think you can't really complain about. But it's Type-C, it's really quick. I think within an hour or 1 hour and a half, you're really getting to 100% with that 45-watt charger, which comes in the box, which is good again to see. I've been out with this phone a bit. I've walked around with it, and a few of my friends have actually asked when I say, "Oh, you got a new phone?" and I'm like, "Yes," and they're like, "What phone is that?" When I say Tecno, they're like, "What?" Like I said earlier on, the mindset towards the brand hasn't really been the best, especially for me and people in my bracket, right? My friend groups. But seeing this phone has actually changed their minds and sort of made them consider Tecno in a different light, which again is the reason I say they're in their OnePlus era. When it comes to software, the great thing to see, it comes with Android 15 out of the box, which is very good to see. I think you're promised about 2 years of software updates, which is probably making this a 3-year phone, right? Which I think is a long time before you usually upgrade your phone. It's good to see. Obviously, it has HiOS 15 over it, but what I like about it is that it still looks like stock Android. There's nothing really much that will differentiate it, so it still looks clean, it looks simple. That is one of the main things when I'm choosing an Android device, because most of them slap their own software over Google software. If it's not a Google Pixel, you're gonna have to, they usually slap something over. So it's always good to see that it's close enough to stock Android. The phone can look nice, but if the software experience is bad, it's bloaty, it just doesn't really give off that premium feel, then again, you always start to remember, yeah, I didn't pay a lot of money, so I deserve it. In 2025, the talk is AI. I don't think you can have a phone that comes out without AI. And Tecno has sort of tried to do that with their assistant, who is called Ella. Now, Ella, I don't know what to say about Ella. Ella is not really there yet. You can't really put it against the likes of the Google Assistant, Gemini right now. You can't really put it against Siri. Why? One, its speech feels a bit laggy. For example, let's say I wanted to get something from Ella. I long press the one tap button. She's here. Hey Ella, what is today's weather like?
Kialiwaj is light rain today. The high is forecast as 24 degrees Celsius and the low as 19 degrees Celsius.
Like her voice is sort of breaking, it's not really there yet. So that's my issue. It doesn't feel confident. That's one gripe I have with Ella. But otherwise, I think it is getting there. I think the more they play around with it, the better it will become. But for right now, I think the option to switch to Gemini in the phone is welcome, so that you can get that premium assistant for now. Besides Ella, there are a ton of AI features, right away from the AI gallery to the camera to text. You can get text summaries, you can get call summaries, you can erase images, which is very good to see. There's a whole lot. And again, it's good to see Tecno diving into this right now, not holding back, because AI is going to be important. It is important already. So to see it in a phone at this price point, to be able to play around with such tools, it is good to see. Obviously, the performance can get better and better, and when it does, it will make it more premium. But for now, it's just good to see that they're trying and they're not hiding away from it. Now, with all those features and AI, what is the battery life? Does it take a hit? I don't think so. I've used this phone for about a week now, and I can say on heavy workload days, I can end the day with about 10-15% of the battery still there. And on light days, I can actually end the day with 50%. So it's solid. I think one of the things with fast charging is that over time, it will weaken the battery. So if you do not really need the fast charging, there is an option in the settings where you can turn it off so that you can prolong the life of the battery. But if you need the fast charging, it's there and it's dependable. But this battery is good. It will last you a day or two, depending on how much you use your phone. As a photographer, this is the main part, the cameras. So we have like a 3-camera setup here. We have a 50 megapixel main camera, we have an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and then we have a 32 megapixel selfie camera at the front, which is good to see. Now the photos on here, pretty decent, nothing much to write home about. But what I really like about it is the blacks. The blacks are not really washed out. There's decent amount of dynamic range, especially if you look in certain areas. Obviously, when it comes to the ultra wide, things start to fall apart. It's not really detailed as much because we have 8 megapixels there. You'll still rock out a few photos that you can use. I think the main camera I would be using is the 50 megapixel camera. When it comes to selfies, decent. At the end of the day, for me, as long as my blacks are not washed out, there's a bit of detail, it's a decent one. Again, if you have the proper applications for video, for photos, for editing, I think this is a very decent camera system. And yeah, I think Tecno really did a great job. Other features on the phone: speaker system. We have a stereo speaker system, very loud, has a bit of bass, very good for consuming content. Again, I don't think you will need your earphones unless you're really in a place where you need them, but if you want to just consume with the speakers, it's very good. TikTok, Instagram, even watching Netflix, very good sound. So that wraps up the Tecno CAMON 40 Pro. I think it's a very decent offering for the price point, under 1 million Ugandan shillings. So if you're out there for a budget phone, this is one you should consider. The software experience is great, the cameras are decent, battery is amazing. I don't think you're lacking anything at this price point. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.